Good afternoon. We will get started in about 5 minutes. Please know that closed captioning is available today.
Here's a big idea. The biggest ideas don't always start big. They begin as a tiny spark, only seen by those who know how to look, brought to life by a shared desire to change what's possible. From inventing the touchscreen technology that connects you to the world, to outfitting the astronauts who orbit around it, at the University of Delaware, ideas grow until they become bigger than big and challenge the way the world thinks. Because UD was built to create impact at every scale. From studying the nuances of how we move through our world, to protecting the vast expanses of our ocean environments, through graduates who are there to shape our country and leaders who continue to impact our world today. Through students driven by passion and values and friendships that start in Delaware and span the globe. We are inspired to stand together because that's what Blue Hens do. Together, we make connections on a human scale. Together, we pivot into bold new territory. Together, we give the smallest lives the biggest advantage because we know the size of an idea can only be measured by its impact. At the University of Delaware, the ideas bring us together. And together, we make them giant.
Hello, Blue Hens, and welcome to New Student Orientation. My name is Kelly Murray, and I serve as the Director for Orientation and Transition Programs. And I'm so thrilled to have you all here today to share some of our Blue Hen energy and spirit with all of you. Today is a big moment. To the students here, I'm sure you've been waiting for this day for quite a while now. Today is your first official day as a Blue Hen. You get to decide how to start the next chapter of your story, who you want to be, and how you spend your time over the next few years. Your first year will be exciting and challenging, but today is the start of the journey with a blank slate. Today is designed to give you the tools to be successful and to get you to start imagining what life at UD will be like. I hope you take advantage of your time today by asking questions, connecting with your new classmates and the orientation leaders in your small group sessions, and learning more about what you can expect as a new UD student. To the parents and families with us today, I know that your student's transition to Delaware is also a significant transition for you too. I'm sure you're feeling a range of emotions today, but what I hope you're feeling for your student is excitement. I hope that after today, you feel more informed and confident, knowing UD is a university that will both challenge and support your student. We are here to engage you in our work as strong partners and supporters of the student experience. Throughout today's session, staff and student leaders from Orientation and Transition Programs will be available to assist with questions, and shortly you'll learn more about our team and today's schedule. But before we get there, a few of my colleagues would like to welcome you and wish you well today. It's now my pleasure to introduce a special message from UD's President, Dennis Asanis, and First Lady, Eleni Asanis. Dr. Asanis is the 28th President of the University of Delaware, starting his role in 2016. Born and raised in Athens, Greece, Dr. Asanis is a distinguished educator with a wide range of academic leadership experience and a worldwide reputation as a scientist and engineer. He has a clear and bold vision for the University of Delaware, focused on expanding student access and success, building a social justice foundation to support a diverse, inclusive, and intercultural campus, expanding interdisciplinary and global opportunities, redefining creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship, and reimagining intellectual and physical capital for a boundless campus.
Hi, Blue Hens. My wife Eleni and I want to welcome you to the University of Delaware.
We are so glad you're here, and we are looking forward to meeting you on campus.
You're about to embark on an exciting journey of education, exploration, and discovery. You chose to be a Blue Hen because you want to make the world a better place, and we want to help you succeed. Being a Blue Hen means that you learn to think critically and creatively about our society and its challenges.
This means you'll try new things, travel to new places, meet new people, and embrace the full diversity of the world around us. You'll discover so much, especially about yourselves.
And you'll have many opportunities to help others and serve your community. You'll find this experience so rewarding.
We hope you enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you soon.
Go Blue Hens!
Hello, Blue Hens. My name is Adam Cantley, and I'm privileged to serve as Dean of Students and Assistant Vice President for Student Support and Advocacy here at the University of Delaware, and excited to welcome you as some of our newest Blue Hens and families. UD attracts great talent, and we admitted you because we believe you'll do extraordinary things at the university, and we're confident you have what it takes to be successful. The Division of Student Life at UD is committed to developing a dynamic college experience exemplified by a vibrant campus culture. We hope you continue to build skills to thrive here and after graduation. Now, I know talking about graduation seems a little early, but time flies when you're a UD student who is engaged and involved on campus in their experiences. Although your time at UD may seem to go quickly, I encourage you to allow yourself the time and space to transition to college life. Every individual's journey and adjustment is different, and we're here to help you reach your goals. As part of our commitment to your success, we want you to find a sense of belonging, support your intellectual, social, and wellness needs, and provide opportunities to deepen your learning through daily experiences at UD. From registered student organizations to Healthy Hens, our Wellbeing Ambassador program, Student Life provides various avenues for getting involved and making connections. To advance our commitment to strengthening the student experience, we recently opened our Center for Intercultural Engagement in the Perkins Student Center and the Wellbeing Center in Warner Hall. We offer many support services and programs, including mental health counseling, leadership development, career consulting, medical care, and academic advocacy. Just ask to learn how to connect with any of these resources. We also welcome all of you to follow our @UD Students Instagram. This is an Instagram plug. So @UD Students to get a better look into our Blue Hen community and stay informed about the latest news for UD students. We hope you enjoy your afternoon and look forward to spending time with you during UD Welcome Days in August. I'll turn it over to the myth, the legend, our new student orientation student coordinator, Aretha Corsa, for more information and about what to expect today.
Thank you so much, Adam. Oh, that was a great introduction. Hi, everyone. We are so happy to have you this afternoon. My name is Aretha Corsa, and I am the student coordinator for this year. I'm currently a senior with a major in political science and a minor in legal studies. I am from Accra, Ghana, now living in Middletown, Delaware, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. We have so much in store for you today, but before we start, we have a short introduction video to introduce our team, so I hope you enjoy.
Hello there, Blue Hens. Student Coordinator Aretha here. We are so excited to have you here for new student orientation programs. Our orientation leaders will help answer any questions you have, get you accustomed to student life, and teach you what it means to be a true Blue Hen. Let's go meet the team. Orientation leaders, you got the mission? Deliver the package safely. Good luck out there.
Yes, those are our superstars. So they'll be with us, with students and families today. So you'll get to hear from them. But you've learned a little bit more about our team. We want to know a little bit more about you. So in the chat, please hype up where you're zooming in from. So if you have any international friends, any out-of-state friends, you can just put in the chat where you're zooming in from. Yes. Nice. See Dover, Florida. Oh, that's nice. Oh yeah. New Jersey, Iowa. We're so happy to have you here today. Arizona, Egypt, all over. So as that keeps going in through the chat, I'll talk a little bit about what we have in store for you today. So with students, you'll start here with the academic life session, where you get a little tips and tricks on how to succeed academically when you come on campus. And then you'll log onto a different Zoom link and you'll get to meet your orientation leaders and just kind of talk about what it means to be a Blue Hen and learn more about the resources we have for you today. With families, don't worry, we still have a lot in store for you. So as your student is with your orientation leader, you'll be here with us. We'll have a student life session talking about how to support your student through this transition. And then we'll also have different campus partners come and talk to you too. And then at the end of the day, we'll have a student Q&A panel. So students will come, and if you have any questions about their experiences and what their time at UD has been like, they'll be here to answer those questions for you. And so with that, usually as y'all are typing in the chat and things are happening, we like to pick a spirit winner. So we give you a Barnes & Noble's gift card of $100 that when you come on campus, you can spend at the store. And so today's winner is Ethan Rocco. Congratulations. If you check your UDEL email, you will receive an email that has everything you need and your gift card in there. So congratulations. And so with that, we are excited and ready to start our first session, which will be Academic Life with Christine Ritz.
Thank you, Aretha. Hi, everyone. My name is Christine Ritz, and I am the Senior Assistant Dean in the College of Education and Human Development. And on behalf of the faculty and staff here at the university, we are thrilled to have you here this afternoon to hear a little bit more about what your life at UD is going to be like. I'm going to talk about different aspects of academic life today. I'm going to cover important dates and deadlines, academic advising, course information, and resources. But first, next slide, please. But first, we'd like to do a warm welcome to all our first year and transfer students here joining us on Zoom today. The information I'm going to be sharing today will be somewhat general because we have both first year students and transfer students joining us, and we have students from all different majors on the call today. So know that for students, you will get very specific major information through your Meet Your College session, if you haven't had a chance to attend that, during your academic advising session, and also through your NSO Canvas modules. So know that today's information is a little bit general, but you will certainly get more specific information when you attend some major specific events. So let's talk about your new jobs. Oh, next slide, please. Thank you. Your new jobs. Everybody's getting new jobs today. And like both Kelly and Aretha and Adam have talked about, this is a very exciting time as you start your transition from where you have been either in high school or a previous institution, and you're moving here to Newark, Delaware to become part of our Blue Hen family. Everybody is shifting their jobs. So new students, you will become advocates for yourself. You will learn how to advocate for yourself here on campus, reaching out for support and accessing resources. And families, we are going to help you learn to be your students' support so that they can be their best advocate. For families and support people that are joining us today, shortly, you will hear a little bit more about the Family Blue Hen Hub. And the Family Blue Hen Hub is a place where families and guardians and support people can check in on what's happening on campus. They'll get information about what's coming up for students so they can also help their students navigate those next steps. And for students, you're going to hear a lot about resources and support during today. And as you move through your NSO experience this summer, know that your academic advisor is a great resource on campus to start. So if you're not sure exactly where to go, you can always start with your academic advisor. I do want to share a little bit of information about the framework of how the university is organized. Next slide, please. And that is how our colleges and our academic units are organized. So underneath the umbrella of the University of Delaware, we have 10 different colleges and academic units, and you'll see them listed there on the slide. Within each of these academic units and colleges, there are departments, and then inside those departments is where the majors are housed. So students will very quickly identify with their major. They are a biology major or a psychology major. But the important thing to know is that within our organizational capacity, those students all have an assistant dean like myself. There is someone like me in every college or academic unit, and we're a great resource for students who may need additional support or are not sure who they should reach out to get some questions answered. So just know that there's someone like me in every college, and that's our organizational structure. But if you're not already identifying with your major group, you certainly will by the end of the summer. Next slide. I want to talk a little bit about some important dates and deadlines that you see there on the screen. And I'm going to talk through each of these because whether you're new to the University of Delaware from another institution or you're a brand new student, this is going to be all new dates and deadlines for you. So the first day of classes is August 29th. The day before that, on August 28th, which is a Monday, we will have academic orientations all across campus. So while you are meeting maybe one-on-one or in small groups with your academic advisor and colleges this summer, you will have the opportunity to meet in person on that Monday, and you'll get more information about that meeting, but that will be your opportunity to gather in person with faculty and staff and students who are all new to your major and your college. On September 12th, we have the last day of free drop add. And what this means is that at the beginning of every academic session, and for fall semester, it just so happens to end on September 12th, you will have the option to drop and add courses without any financial obligation. What that means is that there will be no fees associated with your dropping and adding, and you can do that up until September 12th. For brand new students at the University of Delaware, we're going to encourage you not to make any decisions about your schedule without talking to an academic advisor first. As we are working on schedules over the summer, we really hope that your schedule is set and you don't need to make any changes. But certainly, if you go to your schedule that first week and decide that you might want to make some changes, you can do that up until September 12th, and you can do that by consulting with your academic advisor. October 15th, all freshmen will get midterm grades for their fall semester classes. This is a great opportunity for both students and faculty or families and guardians to check in about how things are going this semester. They do not become part of any permanent record. It's just a check-in for students to see how they are how they're doing halfway through the semester. And then on November 13th, this is the last day to drop a class or audit a class for fall semester. So between September 12th and November 13th, students can still drop a class if they would like. This is fairly late into fall semester. So if you find yourself thinking about dropping a class, we encourage you to talk to an academic advisor before you make those decisions, because we want to help you make good decisions around any dropping decisions about your classes. The reason a student might drop a class that late in the semester is perhaps at midterm grades, they were not doing as well as they had hoped, and they made some adjustments over the next couple weeks, and it still was not improving the grade to the level that they would like. That would be an opportunity to talk to an advisor and make a decision about whether or not to drop the class at that point. And then December 11th is the last day of classes. And then December 13th through December 17th is final exams. You will know your final exam schedule when you start classes in August. All that information will be available to you that first day of class or that first week of classes. If you are needing to make arrangements for travel between now and the beginning of the semester, please plan to be on campus through December 17th until you know your final exam schedule. Next slide, please. So academic advising is this website that you have listed here. I'm going to ask you to jot that down and bookmark it. This is a great landing page for all things academic advising. It's got great information on it. It will talk specifically about how to make an appointment with your academic advisor, how to register for classes, policies and procedures, and other things that may be new to you as a new Blue Hen that you may not have had, may not be familiar with from your other institution. It'll talk about our grading policies, which is an important thing that you'll want to know about before the semester starts. And also it links to all the degree requirements. So you'll be able to go to this website and see what your degree requirements are. It'll be one of a number of places where that information is available. Next slide. So I want to hone in a little bit on academic advisement, specifically about what's happening this summer and then what's going to happen in future semesters. This summer, academic advising and registration is done a little differently than it will be done in the future. So at this point in the semester, or at this point in the summer, hopefully all of our students have registered for an academic advising appointment. Some students may have already had their academic advising appointment. If you have not registered for your academic advising appointment, please check your UDEL email, and there should be information in there about how and when to register for that academic advising appointment. This summer, we were doing advisement either one-on-one or in small groups, and then we work behind the scenes after those meetings to build student schedules, and then those schedules will be available in early August. Some of the things that we're looking at and talking about with students this summer are test scores regarding AP exams that you may have taken, if there are any IB credits, if you were dually enrolled while you were in high school and you have some transfer credits from a local college, and or if you are a transfer student and you're transferring your courses from another institution. It's important that all of that information come to the University of Delaware and become part of your academic record here. So this is a very time that's in flux with all of this information. We're receiving high school transcripts, we're receiving college transcripts. So just make sure that you are making sure that those things have been sent to admissions so that we can start to get all of that in place on your academic record here. You want to attend your academic advising appointment, like I mentioned, if you haven't already, and then your schedule will be ready in early August. By August 1st, it will be final. You may start to see some things happening in your schedule where the registrar's office is building schedules behind the scenes. Between now and August 1st, there could be some changes. So for instance, a room location might change or a faculty member's name might change. So just know that even if you've looked at your schedule, you want to revisit it in August for that final schedule. There won't be any changes after August 1st, or if there are, you'll be notified by email. And then attend that academic orientation session on August 28th. In the future, this will be done differently. So for instance, in fall semester, we will start to think about spring semester classes in October. And I know that feels early. You will have been here about a month, and then we'll start to talk about the next semester. But you will make an appointment with your academic advisor to talk about spring semester courses, and then you will get an appointment to go in and register yourself for classes. And that will happen in October and November. So you'll get notification of this through your UD email, and know that that'll be the process moving forward. How we do it this summer is only this summer. As you are new students to the university moving forward, it will be a little bit of a different process for you. Next slide. Thank you. We have an initiative here on campus for our first year students. It's called Finish in 4. And the goal here is that you are taking enough credits each semester so that you are on track to finish your degree in 4 years. That parameter that we put on students is finishing 30 credits each year, which roughly comes out to 15 credits every semester, but it could also come out to doing some winter and summer courses if you take lighter loads during the regular semesters. More than likely, when you're meeting with your advisor this summer, we're recommending at least 15 credits for fall semester, and then taking another 15 in the spring would give you that 30, but you could also balance it between summers and winters. A couple things to make sure you're on track for graduation. You want to meet with your academic advisor at least once a semester. Certainly they're available for more meetings, but you do want to check in with them at least once a semester. And then you will have access to a degree audit in UDSIS. And the degree audit is an online system where you would be able to log in and see exactly what courses you're taking and what they're counting for in your degree plan. And this is something that is it's an additional support system that you can use with your advisor. And as soon as you register for a class, you can go in and look and see exactly where it's counting. Next slide, please. So we have a common reader for all of our first year students. The common reader this summer is made by Stephanie Land. If you haven't already purchased it or started it, I encourage you to do that. It'll be part of your freshman seminar course. You can, pardon me, there will be lots of opportunities on campus when Stephanie comes to campus as the author. There'll be contests and opportunities to meet with her. So I encourage you to read this book. I've actually read it. It's very good. And I would encourage you all to make sure that you have that read by the end of the summer. And now I'm going to turn it over to Aretha for the next slide. She's going to talk a little bit about fall semester.
Absolutely. So when thinking about what the fall is going to look like for you, your first week of classes is really important. Every professor will give you a syllabus that will have every assignment that's due that semester, every test, every paper. They put all of that in the syllabus, and they also put certain policies. Like for some classes, I had a class last semester that was like, you had to write 4 papers, but the first paper had to be done by a certain time. And so keeping track of that. And then also, another thing is like attendance policies. You have to go to every class. What happens when you don't go to class? You lose points and things like that. So those are things to pay attention to your first week of classes. And what I like to do is I like to make a master spreadsheet with every assignment due that semester. So every paper, every test, all those fun things. And then I make sure that it's sorted in due date. So like what's due in the next week to what's due at the end of the semester. And then usually any free time I may have in between classes, if I see that I have like 3 papers due in the same week, I'll start working on one paper way before so that when I get there, I'm not struggling and I don't get stressed. And so those are things to think about. And in terms of like how to get to your classes, if you're ever lost, honestly, you could just stop someone. It's like, hey, do you know where this is? People are very friendly on campus and they can easily help you out. But then also Google Maps, amazing. Put in the GPS, you get there right on time. In terms of navigating Canvas, Canvas is the platform where your professors will put announcements, tests. Like if you have to submit anything, usually that will be through Canvas. And so you should have started the NSO course already. But as you're doing that, just play around with it, see how things work, look at the different sections, just get like the perfect time to test it out. And if you have any questions, there are people who eventually be able to reach out to, like your RA when you first move on campus, if you live on campus. In terms of office hours, professors have a designated time where your door is open. So it could be like an hour, 3 times a week, or 2 hours, depending on like what their schedule looks like. And basically it's like, if you don't understand anything that's happening in class, you walk into their office and talk about it. Office hours, I think, are useful for making those personal connections because your professors have probably been in fields that you want to be in. So one of my favorite professors, he practiced law for 13 years before becoming a professor. And so me in that process of like looking at law schools and things I want to do, he's been very helpful, like giving me tips on like maybe things I should consider if I ever want to practice like international law and things like that. So that's been really helpful. But my favorite thing about office hours is you get to know your professors on a deeper level. They're so excited to talk to you. So they talk to you about their kids, your cats, your dogs. And so at the end of the semester, if you're in an unfortunate position, like I tend to be every single time, where I just need a little round off. So I'm about 89.95 cusp. And I go to my professor, I'm like, hey, hope everything's doing good. How's the family? Is it possible to round this up? And I usually go with, I'm willing to do any extra work that is like I need to do to round my grade up, but they usually like, don't worry about it, and they round it up for me. And the reason this happens is because they know me. They've seen me in office hours. They see I participate in class. I show up to class. They know they know about my family. And so they're more inclined to help you out when they know that you put in that effort all semester. And so like you missing that one mark that affected your whole grade and your whole GPA, they're usually very considerate about that. And then academic advisors, please, please, please reach out to your academic advisors. They're very helpful. And they're also, I think one of my favorite things about them is they know about most of the classes that are happening, or basically all the classes that are happening. So my academic advisor would be like, don't take these two classes in the same semester because they're both very, very hard and require a lot. So maybe you want to substitute that class with this class and do that class in the spring. And so they're helpful when it's like choosing classes, because they can tell you like these two classes together are not a good combination, or these two classes are very similar. So take these two classes so that it's like your semester is not as hard as it needs to be. And then my favorite part, resources and support. UD has so many resources and support on campus. This is an amazing start. So when you meet your orientation leaders, you can ask them any questions you have. They're the first resource that you kind of like get to know. When you move on campus, if you're going to be living on campus, we'll have resident assistants. They're a great resource. But we also have things like the Writing Center, which is a place where I work at. And I know that like we work on like a whole bunch of essays. I'm a political science major. I've written like helped people with so many chemistry essays that at this point I'm like, I could probably change majors. But they're there to help you with anything you may need. If you need help like with cover letters, essays for grad school. And so I know one thing that we're really like focused on is like collaboration. So that's something we do. But I also know that like the Career Center, I've used them many times. When I was trying to get my interview, they helped me with my resume, kind of talked me through that. And they were able to pinpoint the tiniest things that I wouldn't realize if I was doing a resume on my own. So being proactive and reaching out before you need that help is always amazing, because you get a head start that you don't realize is very helpful. Yeah, and so that is all from me. I will turn it back to Christine and we can move on to the next slide.
Thank you very much, Aretha. So just to continue on the resources side, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to hear a lot about resources. These three, Blue Hen Success, UDSIS, and the undergraduate catalog are probably some of the three that students will use the most. So Blue Hen Success is the platform that we use for academic advising and tutoring. This is the way most students will make their appointment with their academic advisor, and you can email your advisor as well. In addition, this is how you can schedule tutoring sessions. Some students may already be engaging with Blue Hen Success this summer. Others may not have been using it already, but you'll certainly start using it in the fall. UDSIS is our platform here at the University of Delaware, where all of your academic information is going to be housed. So whatever platform you were on previously, whether it was at a high school or another institution, you'll be moving into the UDSIS platform, and you can see the web address there. This is where your class schedule is located. This is where you'll do all future registrations. That we use the term web reg. And that's where you'll do all of your registering. I talked about the degree audit earlier. This is where the degree audit is housed, plus your undergraduate transcript or your unofficial transcript, and all of your personal information. So name, address, phone number, contact information. And then finally, the undergraduate catalog. The undergraduate catalog is a very dense document online, but you can easily search it. And when you go in, you'll be able to search for your major and you'll see all of your degree requirements for your major. Plus, this has all of our academic policies and expectations and course descriptions. In addition, the catalog is really helpful if you're thinking about adding a minor. You can search for that minor and see what the degree requirements are. Or if you're thinking about changing your major, you can see every single degree that we offer and what the degree requirements are for that particular major. Next slide, please. Thinking about academic support and where students go when they're in a class, Aretha did a great job of talking about professors, and that is really your go-to when you're thinking about getting additional support in a class. But in addition, you have academic advisors. You also have someone like myself in every college. In addition, we've got particular offices here on campus that also provide support. The Office of Disability Support Services is the office on campus that provides accommodations for students. So if you are a student that had accommodations in high school or at your previous institution, such as extended time on tests, a quiet test environment, or additional academic supports, we're going to encourage you to register here with our DSS office so that you can continue to have those supports as a student here at the University of Delaware. Those accommodations don't naturally transfer. You have to register here, and I'll encourage you to reach out to that office this summer so that you can start that process. In addition, the Office of Academic Enrichment this is the office that manages most of the tutoring on campus. In addition, they have lots of opportunities to support students, both in-person and web platforms, talking about study skills and how to take good notes and how to choose a major. There's lots of great resources on that website. We have a Center for Counseling and Student Development to support our students' well-being. And the Writing Center, which Aretha talked about, is just one of the many facilities on campus that students can get additional support based on the subject area that they're looking for. Next slide, please. Parent and Guardian Secure Services is lots of words to say this is the access piece for students in terms of who they would like to share access about their academic record and their financial record. So as students move to college, or for those students that are transferring, you are under the FERPA Act, Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, which means your academic record is protected. And the students manage who has access. So for our students, if you would like to share access with a parent or a guardian or a support person, you can go to that website listed there on the screen, and there is a drop-down menu where you can search for parent and guardian services. And the process to share that information is you will go into a web form and add an email address of the person that you would like to share the information with. And then that person will get an email from the university to set up their own login to be able to see your academic information. There is a separate login or a separate way to share financial information. And I know you have a session financial services, so they can talk a little bit about that. That's how you can share information, but beyond just the mechanics of sharing, I would encourage students and their parents or their guardians to talk now about how they plan to share information. Academics is a very important and a very big piece of this experience, but students will also be making other decisions. Things like whether or not they might want to study abroad or staying in Newark to do undergraduate research with a faculty member. So if you haven't had that conversation yet, I encourage you to have it this summer before the fall semester starts about how sharing information will happen in your family. Next slide, please. So we have a few next steps for Blue Hens, and a lot of this, I'm just going to reiterate what we've already talked about. So if you haven't attended your Meet Your College session, make sure that you register for that and attend. Make sure that you schedule and attend your virtual advising appointment. So both Meet Your College and academic advising are virtual this summer. You also want to work through those Canvas modules. for NSO that Aretha talked about. That has really good information to help you get ready for fall semester. And I've mentioned your email a lot today. And so it is very important that you are checking your UDEL email regularly. If you have it forwarded to another account, make sure that you're checking those filters so you're not missing anything. But we are actively sending things to students all summer. So you want to make sure that you're checking that account now and frequently. I talked about number 5, sharing information with your family or whoever helps you make decisions. And I encourage students to reach out for support early. If you are in a class and you feel like you would benefit from tutoring or extra support, reach out early. There's lots of opportunities on campus to get additional support, but it'll be up for the students to advocate and reach out for that themselves. And check your email as it's noted there. Next slide. So I just want to say a quick thank you. I know we have another group coming up at 4:45, but I want to say congratulations to all of our new Blue Hens and the families. We are really excited to welcome you to campus. We're excited to do the orientation activities this summer and really look forward to seeing you that last weekend in August and on August 28th to kick off the new academic year. And I am available for questions if there aren't any. So I see a question in the chat about, the question is, how will I make an appointment and is there a specific link or phone? So if you would have either gotten, there is a specific link. So students should check their UDEL email to find out how to schedule that academic advising appointment. And if they're not sure, they can contact the NSO office and then we can, Kelly and her team can connect back to the college and we can resend that information. But it either is in your Blue Hen home or in your email. I see a question here for what is the move-in day for transfer students? And I will be honest, I'm not sure about that, but that should be something that's probably covered a little bit later in one of the other sessions. But it will be that weekend, August 26th and 27th. Is there a link or phone number to schedule an appointment to receive your UDID cards? I'm going to defer that back to new student orientation because I'm not sure about that process. But Aretha or someone from her team will be able to answer that.
Absolutely. I can just put the link. I can reply the message with the link and then they should be fine.
Great, thank you. If you take a winter session, do you need to live on campus if you live in Delaware? That's a great question. We have a really vibrant winter session here on campus. You do not have to live on campus if you're taking a winter session course. The only students that are allowed to be on campus during winter session are those that are enrolled in a course, but you do not have to live on campus. Are we able to request a change 8 a.m.? Are we able to request a change to our 8 a.m. classes to later in the day if they're, or are the times set already? If you, if your schedule is already complete and you can see it online, you would be able to make changes to your schedule on August 1st. That's when things will open up. And I didn't mention this before, but UDSIS is, I would encourage students to get into UDSIS and look around. There are no active buttons in there right now, so you can't drop all your classes or anything like that. So get into UDSIS and look around, and then some of those buttons will become active on August 1st. So you're welcome to make an adjustment. The only caveat here is if you're changing to a different time of the same course, that's okay. But if you're changing a course to a different course, make sure you touch base with your advisor so that you're not impacting a future semester or something that we know you need to have for fall semester. Where do I pick my classes, or do I pick my classes during my online advising appointment? Great question. So the academic advising appointment is when that class selection will happen. However, some colleges send out information ahead of time. So for instance, if you're a university study student, I know they send out information for students to fill out ahead of time so that when you come into that academic advising meeting, they can have some conversations with you. So you and your advisor will talk about courses, and then they will put in a request for courses to the registrar's office so that they can work on your schedule. Are we able to switch our housing? That would be a good question to ask the housing department. And I'm not sure if they're going to be on tonight or not, but you can certainly reach out to housing for more information. I haven't been able to take the math placement exam because ProctorU website either says the session is expired or won't let me log in. I would contact the math department to talk a little bit more about the math placement exam and the issues you're having with proctoring. And hopefully someone from the NSO group can pop that contact information in there. If not, I can definitely do it. I met with my advisor. How do I know if my classes are all set? I haven't seen anything for confirmation. So know that on August 1st, your schedule will be set. If you log in and you see what looks like to be 15 credits, that probably means that your schedule is complete, but they still could make some changes depending on how things roll for the rest of the summer. So if you see something in there that's 15 credits, you can also reach out to your advisor, the person that you talked with, and just ask them, say, I see my schedule in there. Is that a final schedule? You'll get the same conversation, which is, yes, it's final, but double check on August 1st to make sure that there haven't been any changes to your schedule. There's a question about financial aid, and I am going to defer that back to Kelly and her team, or when financial aid is able to join the session. Good question.
I'll just go ahead and answer it live. Every student's financial aid is specific to them, so students can log into their portal to see if they've been granted any aid or scholarship. But if you have questions regarding student financial services, they'll have some live Zoom sessions throughout July and August, which can be viewable on the Canvas course calendar as well as the Blue Hen Family Hub calendar, or you can reach out to Student Financial Services via their website and their email.
Great, thank you. Other questions that I can answer? Great job with all my NSO partners. I see you all answering lots of questions. I had my advising appointment, so once I had that, are my classes automatically scheduled or anything else I have to do? If you've had your advising appointment with your advisor, then you have completed your obligation, and we are now working behind the scenes to put your schedule together. So it could take a week, it could take a little bit more, a little bit less, but we are working now behind the scenes to get your schedule set. So I would log into UDSIS maybe a week or two after your appointment and see if there's something in there, but know that on August 1st, it will be final. There's a question about the math placement exam. I took the math placement exam and I didn't get a chance to retake it for a better score? Can I take a math class even without the required score? This is a really major specific question. So I would I would email your advisor. If you haven't already had your advising, let me start over. If you've already had your advising meeting, I would email the person that you met with and talk with them about your math placement. If you haven't had that meeting yet, make sure that you bring it up when you do have your academic advising session. The math placement is very important, but some students have to take math in the fall. Some may wait until the spring. It's just a very major specific question. But certainly if you haven't had a chance to retake it and need to, make sure that you're doing the remediation within the system so that you're ready to retake it when it works for you. Pending AP scores, that's a great question. Thank you. And I should have touched on this. We know that July 5th is a big date for AP scores. So when you meet with your advisor, they're going to ask you what AP exams you took, and then make notes of that so that we're not putting you in anything that you might be getting credit for. And then as those AP credits come in, we will revisit your academic record to see what you're getting credit for, and then make any necessary changes to your fall schedule. But make sure that when you're meeting with your advisor, you're talking about AP exams that you took, whether or not you know your scores. We want to know what exams you took, and also dual enrollment credits. Is the advisor for the appointment the same one throughout your 4 years? Really great question there. This summer, you may not be meeting with the person that you're assigned to. Because it's summer orientation, sometimes advisors will meet with a number of students that may not be their assigned advisees. You will get an assigned academic advisor. If it's not already in the system, it'll probably be posted in UDSIS sometime in August. So I would ask the person that you're meeting with, are they going to be your assigned advisor, or will you be assigned to someone else? And we have a combination of advisors here on campus. We have faculty advisors, we have professional advisors. You'll learn a little bit more about the advising system and model when you go to your Meet Your College session, and they'll talk a little bit more about how advising works for your specific major. This is a math question. A score on the math placement test that would place you into Math 113, but you took a course at a previous institution that directly transfers from Math 113. Do you still need to take Math 113 again? Essentially, doesn't matter. I would defer that question back to your academic department, because it really will depend on what the math is that you need. It's a really good question, and if you took it and have transfer credit, I would talk with your academic advisor about that, because I'm not sure what the math requirement is for your particular major. How does a double major work? Great question. So if you, a double major is a student that's doing 2 different majors, and sometimes they're in the same department and sometimes they're not. So just as an example, in the college that I work in, we have a human services major, and we have a number of double majors with psychology, which is in a separate college. If you're thinking about a double major, you can talk with your advisor about it this summer, or certainly when you get to campus in the fall. It will be important, if you're thinking about a double major, to work very closely with both advisors so that you're maximizing the courses that you're taking. So for instance, you want to make sure that you're taking or maximizing courses that will count in both majors. And some majors are a little more closely matched, others are not. So I would talk with your academic advisor about what you're thinking about so that they can give you some direction and connect you to the other department. So the seal of biliteracy, this is new for us this year. We do accept the seal of biliteracy, and it's very specific to each student and each program. So I would talk with your academic advisor about that if you haven't already. That's a good question. What is an honors college? So for students that are in the honors program, you actually are housed in two colleges. So you are housed in your the college that has your academic program, but you're also in the honors college. So you're meeting requirements in both of those areas, and you'll have support and academic advisors in both of those colleges to support you. If you have interest in a particular subject but don't want to seek it as a minor, are you able to take it as an elective? I would say that in general, yes, but it will depend on the subject area. Some courses have prerequisites. Some courses may have limited seats for students or may be limited to majors only. So I would think about the courses that you're interested in and then look in the catalog to see what criteria it is, if there are prerequisites that you need to take before you can take that course. It was mentioned that transcripts need to be sent to admissions@udel.edu. Do the transcripts need to be sent via the college to this email address, or how do we handle sending the transcripts? So if you're sending high school transcripts or college transcripts, those colleges and high schools should know how to send that. You don't need to deliver it. You just need to let them know that it needs to be sent, because we need official transcripts. So of an official transcript from another institution. Some institutions do electronic transcripts and it's very easy. Others still do paper mail. So I would reach out to wherever you took those classes or your high school just to confirm that they are sending that information. I know we are getting tons of high school transcripts right now. Can nursing be taken as a minor? There is not a minor in nursing here at the university. Is the book made required for incoming freshmen to read before fall semester? Yes, that is the required text for your freshman seminar course, and the preferences is that you read it this summer. Question about the honors college and being able to reapply during the first semester. I do not have that date about the application into the honors, but hopefully one of our NSO folks can put the honors information in there. You can easily email the honors college and they'll have all that information. It's also probably on their website. What is the housing process like as a transfer student, and whom can I contact? Oh, thank you, Crystal. I see that you're answering that one. Great. How do I add a minor? Good question. So a minor is something, a minor area of study is obviously different from a major area of study. The minor area of study is typically 18 credits or 6 classes, just kind of depends on the minor itself, but students can select a minor. It's a great way to get a kind of a smaller concentration of coursework. And you can see all the minors listed in the catalog and start to take a look at what we offer. Every minor has a different application process. Some you can just declare through a web form during the fall semester. Others you may have an application process. But I would encourage you to look at minors because there's some really neat opportunities out there in the minor system.
Thank you so much, Christine. If you have any more questions, we can answer through the chat for you. But with that, students, it is time to go to your own breakout room. So we will put the link in the chat. And if you are having any difficulties, please make sure to email otp@udel.edu. I will also put that in the chat so that everyone can access it if they're having any problems. But with that, yeah, students, your orientation leaders are waiting for you. So just click on the link and you will be good to go. And as our students trickle out, we can move on to our next session, which is Student Life with Nathan.
Hello, Blue Hens. It is great to see all of you here today. My name is Nathan Elton. I am the Executive Director of Postgraduate and Student Success Integration in the Division of Student Life. On behalf of all my colleagues in Student Life, want to welcome you to the University of Delaware. We look forward to seeing you and your students in the very near future here in just 5 or 6 short weeks. As part of my role, I oversee the Career Center at the university. So that space on campus that integrates career preparation into the student experience, works with students on identifying and securing internships and other experiences, looks and helps our students secure postgraduate work, and does that through a number of ways, including working with thousands of employers who are recruiting our students for opportunities locally, regionally, and nationally, and some even internationally. So it's exciting to be with you here today. And I'm going to be walking you through the student experience and when it comes to sort of that transition and sort of ways that you are able to support. Next slide, please. So first off, we want to acknowledge you did it. It's your students are to this point. This orientation itself is one of those markers along the way to them being a part of the University of Delaware and kicking off their undergraduate education here with us. When we do this, we recognize that families have a huge role in helping to get the student to this point. And those families can be caregivers, friends, obviously direct parents and others. But it's often many who are helping to get the students to this place. And we now jump in as partners as well to help guide the students along the way and make sure that they're going to be ready for this next chapter of their life to thrive here and beyond. Next slide, please. So now what? So we have our definition of sort of parent and family engagement here to build constructive relationships with UD families and capitalize on the strengths of the Division of Student Life and university partners and support of student success and development. And you can learn more about us with the link that you'll see right there on the page, udel.edu/families. So with that, this brief description, our goal is really the same as yours, to see our students thrive during their time at UD and beyond, and to be able to support them when challenges arise and questions come up or they need guidance along the way. We build engagement into the student experience to ensure that they are outside the classroom, especially making connections, finding friends, finding community, and getting the support they need to be successful. Next slide, please. So how does your role kind of fit into all of this as a family member? Now, obviously leading up to this, you've had a big role. So if you go back kind of to their early years, you were driving them or guiding them everywhere they went for different meetings or things that they may have going in school and outside of school. As they progress through high school, chances are they became a little bit more independent, maybe started driving on their own, taking public transportation on their own, being able to sort of navigate things and have more of an open time as to when they need to be home or where they're going. College is going to be that place where that journey continues, and your students are going to be a lot more flexible with their time here. They're going to be studying late. They're going to be working and collaborating with students on social events and cultural events and other activities. This is a time where they still will, however, be turning to you for guidance and support along the way. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that today of what that guidance can look like and how to offer, and what that role of families in this journey can be. There's going to be times where you may hear from your students quite a bit for advice and guidance. Other times that they're going to be working with the university and supporting them along the way. But again, we see this as a partnership where we were going to be here for you as well. So when you have questions, you're going to be able to connect with us just as easily as your students are able to. Next slide, please. So the role of the Division of Student Life at the university. Here's our mission and vision. And the focus of these three areas that focus on advancing equity and inclusion, deepening student learning, and driving holistic development, and really focusing on the dynamic student experience and vibrant campus culture. We really focused our energies on helping to own that experience outside the classroom at the university. So student organization involvement for students, Greek life, the residence hall experience. In my area, career and employment opportunities in graduate school. Things that help our students to grow both professionally, personally, culturally during their time here, and to make sure they are finding community and well-being as well, so they can be their best selves and move forward in that area. So moving to the next slide, please. You'll see our work falls into a number of departments and areas that are within student life. We cluster in these individual offices and units into different portfolios. I oversee the postgraduate and student success integration with a UD Career Center. But even with this area, we focus on that holistic student development. So a big part of our work is collaboration with one another, so that I'll give the Career Center example. It's not a place where students have to come to us just to get career help. We embed that career support into places like the residential system, fraternity and sorority system, student organizations, working with our areas in student well-being, knowing that career and kind of what you want to do during your time at UD and beyond can often create some struggles for students or some angst. And so how they can help kind of talk about sort of where career fits into their life journey along the way. So it's these offices, are set up with robust staffing and specialists, but our goal is to work together to deliver a seamless student experience for your students as they are join UD and pursue their degrees now and beyond, and then after graduation. Next slide, please. So I wanted to quickly highlight some of our values, or our 5 values that guide the work within our division, and just to kind of go a bit deeper in a couple of them. An example of amplifying student voice. So in that, where our focus in that value is that students and their success are essential to the university's mission and to the mission of our own division. And so through ongoing engagement with students, including sort of their involvement in the development of new programs, ensuring we're delivering services proficiently, and using their voices to promote the needs of students to the entire university. They're an important part of it. We couldn't do this work without active student engagement in helping to guide what we do and how we deliver our services and support along the way. Another example, I'll just do the pursuing equity. That really focusing on ensuring fair and full participation in the student life experience. So an example I can give from that is my office in the Career Center. We oversee a grant program for students where we fund cost of living and other expenses, cost of lost work that may come from a student who is taking on an unpaid internship, which can often be found in nonprofits and some government agencies. We want those students to have those experiences, especially when they're entering into those sectors after graduation, and not be cut off because, like many of us, including me when I was a student, I would not have been able to afford living in a city or even living at home and working without pay. So we offer a grant program up to $4,500 in the summer, up to $1,500 over winter term, additional money during fall and spring semesters to help offset those costs that students have so they can take advantage of whatever experience they are looking to get engaged in, regardless of whether it's a paid experience or not along the way. So programs like that we put together to ensure our students are finding success along the way so they can ultimately then be successful after graduation. Next slide, please. So in preparing for college, you've taken a lot of steps with your students along the way to just get them to this point. And obviously you've seen them develop quite a bit in the last 4 years of high school. And for our transfer-based families here, that first year of college for them as well. That development's going to continue, and everyone entering sort of this period right now today is in a different spot developmentally. So some students are very much in the exploratory phase and will be for quite a while, and as they think about majors and designing different pathways. Others may be a little bit more set in their paths. Both are totally appropriate and fine, and we work with students and are prepared to support them no matter where they are in designing that pathway and thinking about how they may want to engage with campus. So, they took some of these beginning first steps and they're learning more information today. So as you go through, they're going to be preparing and these next few weeks, getting ready to go, starting to potentially make some connections with incoming students like they may be doing today in orientation. But more of that will happen. We were very intentional in those, especially that first semester, of helping to support students in building community and finding themselves so that they can then continue on and thrive during the time at UD. Next slide, please. So preparing for that transition. So it's a preparation point for your students. It's also, there's some preparation for you as well. So they are going to be adjusting to new living arrangements, whether they're in our residential hall system or not. Pretty soon here, for those who have students living on campus, you'll be helping them to move into residence halls and potentially meeting their roommate or roommates. Chances are this could be the first time that they've ever actually had someone living in the same bedroom as them along the way. So this is going to be quite an adjustment, obviously, with something like that. Definitely take a picture. This is going to be the nicest that room's probably ever going to look during their full year on campus, when everything is organized and nice and tidy and clean. But it's going to be a growing experience and learning experience to navigate that. But we're really, again, intentional in the residential space to help them with that change to living in a community-based setting and having roommates along the way. For our students who will be living at home this coming fall, the same is said there. It's going to be a different experience for you and for your student. They're going to be coming and going at different times. They may have study sessions or work on a class project kind of late into an evening, or have a social engagement or cultural engagement that goes late into the evening, or need space, obviously, to study or work on projects. So that's going to be carved out for them, or they'll be carving it out for themselves along the way. And it's going to be something that will be an adjustment too for those families with students who are living at home. That support you're going to give along the way is going to be important too. So the support you've given to get your students to this point will continue. I guarantee you'll get text messages or phone calls, and I think just being an ear and being open to listening is important. But we'll be talking about in a moment here a number of the resources that are available to you and your students. So when you don't have that answer or a piece of advice right then and there, we can connect you and help connect your student to where they can find sort of support or get questions answered along the way. And of course, for some of you, this, or I guess many of you, this may be your first student going to college and leaving the house, or maybe your last. And so whether you have more children at home or now are going to be kind of that sort of empty nester family, it's going to be a big adjustment for you too. And as you go through it, still connect with your student. It'll be, chatting with them, but you know that as you go through here, we have different ways for you to continue to follow what's going on at the University of Delaware and different things that your students can be engaged with along the way. So you can kind of understand what their lives look like here, what they can be involved in, what events are coming up, and know a little bit more about their life, even if you're not talking to them, every day or every week or so. Next slide, please. So I mentioned some of the resources for families, and I'm going to dive into them now with some of these next slides that we have here. First off is the Blue Hen Family Hub. This is an online portal just for UD families that is there to help you support a successful and connected student experience to lead to long-term thriving for your students. So as we get into this platform, next slide, please. By now, you should have received an email invitation to access the Blue Hen Family Club Hub. Follow that link and you'll fill out your profile in there, and you'll be able to start kind of picking things that you want to follow along. So I'm going to dig into different areas of the site here in a moment, but you'll be able to join communities of interest, learn about events and things, and really kind of choose how often and for what content that you'd like to hear from us about from the university. Next slide, please. So what first up are those communities. Now you'll see kind of maybe 2/3 of the way down there, there's a community for the Career Center, which is obviously the one that my office leads. Each of these communities, and there are more of them, are focused on providing pertinent information, advice, news, info about events, upcoming events that your students are certainly going to be getting information about, but we want you to be aware of as well. And so you can sign up for these and join some and then leave them later on if they're no longer relevant to you. But it's a place, again, to kind of connect into the information that's most relevant to you along the way. Next slide, please. The little search function up in that top corner there is able to then go and search all past posts. So say you're not finding what the information you're looking for right away, you could do a quick search there. Chances are a question you have has been posted and we responded to in the past in terms of sharing information with families. You'll be able to get in there and search, but in a few slides from now, I'll show you other ways you can connect with us if you can't find that information right here in the hub. Next slide. One thing you'll also be able to join is our calendar of events, and this calendar is going to have a number of opportunities that you'll see along the way. So for the Career Center, we host 20+ career fairs and large employer networking events each year. We get those posted into this calendar here, so you're aware of things that are coming up that your students may want to take advantage of along the way. So as first-year students, attending a career fair is a great thing to do. It may not be that all the employers are hiring first-year students right away for internships, but they can start forming connections and learning about different career paths and what it's like to work for employers, start to meet some recruiters who are there. And just a great thing to kind of get involved in and sort of really dip their foot into what it's going to be like to be a professional and how to think about themselves as professionals while also being students. So you'll be able to get in there and see different upcoming things that we posted for you to explore along the way. Next slide, please. Another one of our resources that you'll get is the Family Guide and Calendar. This guide has different sort of steps. Each month has different tips and things to be thinking about as you are progressing with your student along the academic year. So you could think of these as like even talking points. So if you are chatting with your student through text or over the phone or FaceTiming, you can use some of these points to just ask them questions about sort of their life and things that they could be potentially spending some time on. Again, your students will be hearing about us for these types of tips along the way, but families are still one of the most influential populations for college students during their time at university. And so you're still going to have, they'll listen to you and they will kind of take interest in things that you have to share along the way. But this is something that you'll have as a guide to help you progress. And next slide, please. And as you flip through it, you'll start that new semester, your new fall semester in September, and it'll give you those tangible ways to support their development earlier on. So we do kind of tailor it. So thinking that first month of some of the things that can commonly be either concerns or questions or areas where students may need a bit more support, we highlight that there, and we'll do the same with each month. Next slide. So this slide here, it's gonna be in this presentation if you want to go back to it, but it's one that I recommend to screenshot right now if you have a moment, because it's getting a lot of the family focused resources and sites all in one slide and some things to focus on. So I mentioned, if you aren't able to find information that you're looking for right from the Blue Hen Family Hub or our website, this email address is a great way to connect with the dedicated staff who are focused on parent-family engagement. And if it's a specific question that they're not going to answer, they're going to connect with an office like the Career Center to get those questions answered and provide more resources along the way. So it's a good stopping point, but you can also connect with direct offices. So the Career Center, we have a page set up for families with advice and guidance for your students, information about what's going on, the ways that you can support other students as well. And many offices are like that, where they're going to have that parent and family facing information for you to find more specifics. But this is always a good place to go if you don't find it right away, what you're looking for, to know that you're going to have a real person on the other side there who's going to get back to you pretty quickly with guidance. UDaily is a site that I highly recommend you subscribe to. From the name, it's a news site that our communications office for the university posts short articles about student initiatives, faculty, research, programs around the university, different ways that the university is supporting the community, incredible alumni. And each day, 3 to 4 articles are posted in the UDaily. So you could sign up to get that every single day, but you could also subscribe for the parent and family version, which comes out on Sunday afternoons. And it'll have, if not all the articles, pretty much most of them that were posted that week. And so you can just scroll through and kind of click through the ones that are of interest to you. But it's a nice way to kind of get a pulse of things going on and some nice stories about the community, about the UD community. The parent families closed Facebook group is another place for you, so that website will take you directly there. We're in there helping to monitor that group too, but it's a nice place where you can connect with fellow family members of other students, get questions answers, look for some support, ask questions, and you'll get responses. And there are families in there who are, second, third, fourth year families who, are a little bit more seasoned with this, who can offer that guidance. I already mentioned the family guide and calendar. In a moment here, I'll talk about the Parent and Family Leadership Council within the Office of Parent and Family Giving. UD Welcome Days, I'm also going to touch on event with our family send-off events. But then one I do want to highlight is that save the date for Parent Family Weekend of October 6th to 8th. So only 6 weeks or so after dropping your students off, I like to kind of think of it as like orientation 2.0. A lot of the people and organizations and offices and that you're connecting with through orientation and then different sort of pre-orientation ways are going to be there in person that weekend. So each college is going to have their deans there and faculty and advisors who are going to be to guide you. Student life will be there to connect with families. There's the football game. You'll get to meet fellow students. It's just a great time. And it's all very first year student focused and family focused. So highly recommend if you can make it back to campus that weekend, start kind of planning for it. It's a good time that doesn't want to be missed. Next slide, please. So I mentioned the Office of Parent Family Giving and then the Parents Fund. So outside of the support that we're giving to parents and families, there's a number of ways that parents and families provide support as well. So giving it from a career center spin in my work, we have families and parents who are serving as mentors for current students. They are offering job shadowing experiences, internship experiences, sitting on panels for students. And so really thinking about your career path and then helping to guide and hire Blue Hen talent for your organizations as well. So my office, the Career Center, has a full employer engagement team, an alumni engagement team, and family engagement team, all built out there that looks to connect and help you engage. So, and we coordinate quite a bit of that through that Office of Parent and Family Giving to make those opportunities available. There are also opportunities to give financially as well. And those go to support many things, including the internship fund that I mentioned earlier on, to help our students who are in unpaid internships in nonprofits and government agencies. But there's a number of areas that it goes to support as well, students with food and housing insecurities and such. And just one of the many ways families can support the university during this time here. Next slide. So I mentioned the student send-offs. They are rapidly filling up, and some may already be on a wait list. If they are on a wait list, I highly suggest signing up, because we do get melts during the summer here where people sign up early, but travel plans happen or a vacation pops up or something else, and so they will cancel their registration leading up to the event, and more spots become available. So even if something's waitlisted, I highly recommend signing it up. You're going to find staff from our parent and family engagement team and student life staff at each one of these events. I personally will be at the Cape May, New Jersey event on August 3rd to greet the families who can make it down to southern tip of New Jersey there for that gathering. And it's a fun time. You'll get to meet fellow families. Your students will be with you. They get to connect with all the students who are attending that event as well. Get more questions answered that you may have along the way. We make it a place as another opportunity to just build that community and get connected in with those who may live around you near these different locations that we have. And you can go to that little website, uw.edu/NSSO, for those new student send-off events. Next slide. So now I'm gonna bring back in my colleague Aretha, who's going to talk a little bit about that sort of family kind of partnership and relationship that she's had kind of during her time here at UD.
Absolutely. And so whenever I start, I do like to share a little bit about my family dynamic. And so with my family, my dad lives in Ghana and my mom lives in Middletown, Delaware, which is about 30 minutes from here. And so with how it's always worked is because I've been away from my dad for so long, something we've been doing since I moved like 6 years ago is that every day I call him, we do a little like, hi, how are you? How's school? How's work? Everything's great. Okay, talk to you next time. And then maybe twice a month, we'll have a more in-depth conversation of like, this is how school is going. This is what's happening with my friends. And just like a whole debrief on like what's happening in life. But as time keeps going, things keep changing. So during my first year, I joined college during COVID. So I needed that little extra support from my family to be able to talk to them regularly, because like we weren't really allowed to like go to people's rooms and like go to events as much, which was a lot to deal with. But as sophomore year came around, it became just a little bit easier. And so I didn't need them as much, but I still did it to like help my dad out, and like just because we've been doing this for so long. But the transition to my junior year was a little bit more tough. And so with that, like I had to like talk to my dad and be like, I can't do that phone call every single day. We can have the twice a month conversation, but every single day gets really, really overwhelming. And that conversation is like changing constantly, because in my first year, I needed something. In my junior year, I needed something absolutely different. And having those conversations as time goes by every year to see what your student needs and how to adapt to those situations. And so I think sometimes he feels like he's missing out, because obviously I only get to see him like twice a year. We live in different countries, and I feel like sometimes it feels like I'm growing up a lot and like really, really fast, which I can't help but agree. But still letting your student know that you're still there to support them, regardless of if they're talking to you once a week or you're talking to you once a month. And so, yeah, that is my example. I would turn it back to Nathan, and then we can answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. Next slide, please. All right, we are at that time for any questions that you have. We'll do our best to answer them here. And if not, there'll be opportunities in other sessions to get them answered. But anytime you want to reach out, this families@udow.edu email address is here for you, as are those other resources that we shared. We've got about 4 minutes or so. So if you want to post a question or two, you'll find me on the Career Center website. So if you have specific career questions right now, in the next few months, the next 2 years, do not hesitate to reach out. We connect with families all the time. So let me see. You've got a first question here. So our question is, do you do any meet and greets in Boston? So we don't as this new student send off have any in Boston this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, orientation team. Where can we find the family calendar? NSO team, do you want to quickly respond to that one? Great.
Absolutely. And so with that, families will be mailed a family calendar, because you couldn't be here in person. So please look out for your mail, probably in the next month or so, you should have received it, and then you should be all set.
Great. So yes, the Blue Hen Family Hub is sent out through email. You should have received it by now. Again, NSO folks, if you want to jump in, I'm not sure when that email was sent. You could help us with that one.
I don't know if anyone's popping on here, but I can. The Blue Hen Family Hub should be live for families as of this week. So if you have yet to receive a link, we will send a link to get registered via the chat. And then we will also make sure you get invited in the next week or so if you haven't been already. But again, if you have any issues, just email families@udell.edu.
Thank you. Oh, for residence hall rooms, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to have a residence hall session coming up here. I personally don't know sort of the number of singles versus doubles and triples that may be out there, or how singles, if they are available, how they're acquired. And you will get a copy of these slides. That's going to be posted to the Canvas site, if I'm not mistaken. All right, we are coming to time here before moving on to your next session. Again, my name is Nathan Elton. You're going to find me on the Career Center website, and I'm here to help along the way, as are all my colleagues in the Career Center and in the Division of Student Life. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Nathan. And with that, we will be moving on to the health and well-being session.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Student Health and Wellbeing session. My name is Jo Sampson. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the program coordinator for violence prevention with student wellness and health promotion. That's a mouthful. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really are trying to set your students up for success. If you have a moment, we ask you to please scan the QR code and ask this very short 3-question survey. That provides us with information and feedback that we can help to make this session better. And first, I just want to, before I have my panelists, my fellow panelists introduce themselves, I just want to kind of ground us in what our goals are for today. So well-being is absolutely key and at the center to students being able to thrive and being able to succeed when they're in college. So it's incredibly important. You think about the massive transition from high school to college. I am the proud parent of a Blue Hen who's in grad school now. It wasn't so many years ago. I was in one of these sessions learning about UD myself, but I used to make in high school, and just think about this yourself, I made all my students appointments for their health and well-being, and then I drove them to and from those appointments. I suspect many of you on this call today may have had the same experiences. So there's a lot of development of skills and independence and growth that your students are going to go through when they come to UD. So that's what today's session is about. We're going to talk about the 3 well-being units, and our panelists will share some key frequently asked questions, perspectives from each unit. And then hopefully, if there's time at the end, I believe we have 30 minutes, we'll try to get to some Q&A. If we don't get to the Q&A, there's a slide that gives all of our our units' contact information and some really helpful ways you could get questions answered through email or go to our website and find out more information there. So next slide, please. Let's go ahead and dive on into what is student well-being. So we have 3 units at UD. Our first unit is the student health services. So if you think about student health, you're thinking about what kind of services you would get from your primary care physician or from an urgent care center. That's kind of that's what you're going to get from student health services. Our second unit is the Counseling Center for Student Development. It is really your one-stop shop for all things mental health. And student wellness and health promotion really has a prevention-focused approach to helping students develop positive behaviors. It's about how do we set students up for lifelong well-being. So at this time, I would like to invite Michelle Juarez-Huffaker, who is from the Counseling Center for Student Development, to introduce herself.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Juarez-Huffaker, and like Joe, I have a child who graduated from University of Delaware and is doing well and thriving. And next slide, please. What I would like to do is, and next slide, please.
Oh, hang on. I think we'll get to your slides in a moment. Now,
okay, yeah, looks like they changed the order.
Yeah, you just introduce yourself and then we'll get to you sharing more.
So, okay, again, I'm Michelle Juarez-Huffaker. I'm a psychologist and I'm from the Counseling Center. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Michelle. And Sherry Ward, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Sherry Ward. I'm the Director of Nursing at Student Health, and I've been here with University of Delaware since 2018.
Thank you. Next slide, please. For those of you, if you come to campus, if you come for Parent and Family Weekend, or maybe you are going to visit campus at another time, we need you to know or want you to know where to find us. And we're also hoping you'll be the memory for your students to help remind them of some of the information you're going to be learning today. So if you're on our campus, in the map that I don't know how to describe it, but at the bottom, there's a blue dot, and the blue dot represents at the fountain, which is outside the Morris Library. And if you are at the fountain and looking south, down the south green, the building all the way at the end is Laurel Hall, and it houses the student health services. Next slide, please. And these are some of our fantastic staff members providing some of those services to some of our students. Next slide, please. And part of the wellbeing neighborhood is also Warner Hall. So again, if you go back to that blue dot, which is the fountain right outside the Morris Library, and look south down the green, Warner Hall is the last building on the right, just before you get to Laurel Hall. It is newly renovated. It's a beautiful space, and it houses the Counseling Center for Student Development, as well as student wellness and health promotion. Next slide, please. And these are some of the spaces that we have, including a beautiful programming area where we do a lot of wellbeing events and activities. And then the Counseling Center on the second floor and student wellness on the third floor. Next slide, please. All right. So let's talk about the cost of these services. Many of the student wellbeing services we're about to talk about are covered by the wellbeing fee that is included in tuition for all full-time students. So if your student is full-time at UD, then they're automatically paying the wellbeing fee. It's included in the tuition. Part-time students also have an option to opt in. There are a few select fees that are associated with some services that are usually dependent upon someone's health insurance, and we'll talk more about that later in this session. Next slide, please. So at this time, I'd like to hand the floor over to Michelle to share some of the the Counseling Center for Student Development Services.
Hi, everyone, again. So I'm Michelle, and I've been at the Counseling Center for 12 years. I used to work in private practice. I am a licensed psychologist, and I love being in a university environment. So this is a slide that shows an overview of some of the programs that we offer. We do community outreach and education. We have structured group therapy groups. We do consultations with students. We will do phone consultations with parents if parents are concerned about their child. We do individual counseling. We do have a psychiatrist and 2 advanced practice nurses who prescribe psychiatric medication. We provide a variety of emergency appointments, and we have a full-time referral coordinator, and we do case management. And a little pat on the back for us, the top referral source for a student connecting with us is a student who has shared having had a positive experience here. Next slide, please. So this is what you can expect at the Counseling Center. So every student starting services here completes a triage appointment, which lasts for about 20 to 30 minutes, where they express their concerns and talk about the relevant background. Triages are seen in a drop-in basis during regular scheduled business hours. If it's a peak time, sometimes students may need to wait for about 30 minutes to be seen. When a student comes in, they will have a triage, and during the triage, at the end of it, we will have a recommendation plan, which may include short-term goal-directed counseling at the Counseling Center. That can be in person or virtual, depending on the student's needs. They might have a referral to a local provider, and that might be if they have a specialized need that we cannot accommodate here at the Counseling Center. And if they do that, if they have the Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield student health insurance plan, it's a $20 copay. And the Counseling Center does have limited funding to help offset the prices of off-campus referrals for students who have true needs for that. And at times we may refer students to short-term goal-directed counseling with timely care. Now, timely care is a package that the university is paying for students. Every student can receive 9 individual counseling sessions with no additional cost for them. And timely care also provides emergency services as well. So every student receives access to the referral coordinator or the care counselor who assists with finding an appropriate provider until a match is made and until the first appointment is conducted. Again, that would be if we thought your student needed to see a specialist. A screening is also available for students who might be interested in participating in therapy groups or theme groups that we offer. Examples of those groups might be managing anxiety, an art therapy group, stressors facing graduate students. Sometimes we have a men's therapy group. And we also have emergency counseling and crisis support that students can access with a licensed provider. We have a variety of different ways students can access emergency services. So one of the items on our menu is the 24-hour UD helpline. We also have telehealth, where students can basically do a Zoom session with a therapist, and that would be on the timely care option. And we have in-person emergency counseling during regular business hours. Students are all also eligible to participate in outreach programs that we offer, and they can request a referral to be seen by one of our prescribers here. When a student is thinking, oh, next slide, please. Okay, and next slide. So if your student is gearing up to embark on their college career, one of the things that's really critical that you might want to be thinking about is choosing a major, selecting classes, and envisioning their room setup. But it's really important for them to think about how to take care of themselves if they have a pre-existing mental health condition that is going to require ongoing counseling or medication. So with that, I tend to think about people that have bipolar disorder, longstanding depression, who might be currently struggling with anorexia and aren't in a certain place of recovery. So what you want to do is take a picture of this on your screen and also think about and talk about with your student or their current mental health provider, how are you going to maintain their wellness and what sort of things might you need to do in order to get them connected with a therapist. Here in Newark, we can meet with your student and do a consultation with you or your student over the phone and help you to determine whether or not they may need to be referred to a specialist. And if that's the case, our care coordinator can help with referrals that you might need. And I would recommend that you call probably a month before school starts. That way you can have a first appointment set up with your student if they need to be seen off campus. Okay, next slide, please. And here are some of the services offered by Timely Care. And you can take a picture of this QR code. Students can register for this now. We're really encouraging everyone to do that, but they will not be able to access the services until school starts. So Talk Now is the on-demand kind of Zoom-like counseling service. We have scheduled counseling where every student who attends classes at the university, full-time or part-time, can have 9 free sessions. We have health coaching for students, and they can have scheduled counseling as well as health counseling. And the health counseling helps them to develop healthy lifestyle behaviors. And we also, hot off the press, we have enacted a texting service through Timely Care as well. So this is a really nice service that is free for your student. And next slide, please. Thank you. And I'm going to pass the baton on to Sherry.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about student health services and what we offer your student. Student health is your student's primary medical care provider while they're at UD. We have a large team of 9 physicians, 4 nurse practitioners, and 29 nurses here to care for your student. We offer routine visits like physicals, chronic disease management, as well as sick visits and visits for injuries. We offer a wide array of sexual health services, including STI testing, PrEP, cervical cancer screening, and birth control. We have a lab that performs on-site testing for strep, flu, COVID, mono, CBCs, urinalysis, pregnancy testing, and more. Our lab will also draw samples to be sent to LabCorp or Quest for any additional tests that your student may need. Your student may also bring in a lab slip from an outside health provider and have their lab work drawn here at Student Health, and then the results will be sent directly to the ordering provider. We have X-ray on site as well as nutrition counseling. Our nutritionists help students with general healthy eating strategies, including managing food options in the dining hall, and also with more medically related nutrition questions for patients with chronic conditions such as celiac, IBS, diabetes, and hypertension. We offer travel consults to students traveling internationally, whether they're traveling through study abroad programs or on their own. We have a large immunization and allergy clinic where we offer all routine vaccines, including travel vaccines like yellow fever and typhoid vaccines. We have a dispensary on site, which we'll talk a little bit more on another slide. We also have sports medicine services, and our NCAA student athletes receive care down at the Whitney Athletic Center, which is connected to the football stadium. Next slide, please. So if you scan this QR code or go to the website that's listed on the screen, there's education on how to upload immunization documentation. Some things that you'll need to upload are the required vaccines, the MMR and meningitis. The COVID-19 vaccine and booster is strongly recommended, but it's not required. There's also a tuberculosis screening questionnaire for the student to complete, a section for them to complete on their health history. And this is where you want to upload your medical insurance cards and prescription insurance cards. Next slide, please. So student health is appointment-based. So please encourage your students to set up an appointment. If they need to see a provider, they can also student health Monday, Friday, from 8:30 to 5. Hours backed by a physician that can help your student with any after hours medical questions that they have. Student health does offer allergy injections through our immunization department. For students that are receiving allergy injections, we do require that the students receive their first dose through their allergist, and then we can provide all of the maintenance doses. We also store the vaccines on site. If your student needs a vaccine refrigerator for their vaccines, or if they just need us to hold them, we can store it for them, whether they inject themselves or need us to inject them. All UD students are required to have health insurance. UD does offer a health insurance plan for students. It doesn't matter which insurance your student has. All students can be seen at Student Health. Next slide, please. So our dispensary offers a number of over-the-counter medications to help with the student's symptoms. We have medical supplies like thermometers, pulse oximeters, and peak flow meters. We also have prescription medications that are available with a prescription from a student health provider. So if they have an appointment with one of our providers and they identify that they need a prescription, they will give the student a prescription, and the student can walk down the hall to our dispensary and pick up medication. And if your student has a chronic health condition, be sure to upload the medical history. Ensure your student has full knowledge of their medical conditions, medication treatments, and healthcare providers.
I'm sorry.
You want your student to establish.
Sorry, Sherry. I'm just gonna
Yes.
jump in because your audio is jumping in and out, and it's been a little bit hard to hear. So I'm just
Oh,
gonna finish off your slides if that's okay.
okay.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
It's one of those technical things you can't really do much about. Okay, and now I'm lost where you are up to. First bullet point, second bullet.
Third bullet point.
Okay, so yes, establish with a provider at Student Health Services to serve as their UD PCP to get to know them and their medical history prior to a flare up or worsening symptoms, and then check insurance coverage in Delaware if waiving the UD health insurance. So that's going to be an important part, is making sure that your health insurance is going to have in Delaware options. Next slide, please. Okay, so the third wellbeing unit is student wellness and health promotion. So I just want to talk for a moment about our services. We really focus on how to help students. We support students and help them really promote for their own health behaviors and provide them with support to do so. So we focus on how to prevent harm from ever happening in the first place through education, and we also help students. We're trying to reduce risk, and we're trying to also respond if somebody has experienced any kind of harm. So the services we offer: victim services. So we have the 24/7, 365 helpline. All students have a UD1 card. On the back of the UD1 card is the crisis, the UD helpline. So that's something important to share with your students if they haven't already discovered that. We also have professional victim advocates with student wellness and health promotion. So they are confidential, and they can support any student who might have experienced sexual misconduct. That might have happened in the past, or it might have happened after a student becomes part of our community. But those are confidential services, and they can get that through our professional victim advocacy programming. And then in the spring, we usually offer group support as well. With alcohol and substance use services, we have trained folks who provide education to your students, lots of support, as well as referrals. We also house the collegiate recovery community. So any student who might be in recovery from substance use disorder, or maybe they have a family member or someone very close to them who has a substance use disorder, then that's what the collegiate recovery community is there for. But it also includes students in any kind of recovery. So a student might be in recovery from sexual violence or gambling, or maybe an eating disorder. So it's a community for students to support one another. And then we also do a lot of outreach, prevention, and education. Oftentimes that's going to be led through peers. So we have a lot of peer education programs, and our peer educators talk about healthy sexuality, as well as stress management, bystander intervention, and much, much more. Something we want to bring to your attention is sometimes we hear students get to the end of their college career and they tell us that they didn't know all of these resources were available to them. So again, we're asking you to be their memory for all of these different resources you're hearing about today, and to share that with them and help them understand it's okay to ask for help, and that, there are lots of people who care about your student, who want them to be success, and that no student has to go through their health and well-being experience or journey alone. Next slide, please. So some of our health promotion frequently asked questions. Why is health promotion important for your student? It kind of harkens back to, we used to make when we've been making all of the appointments for our students, they haven't had the opportunity to develop and advocate for themselves. So really, this is what their journey is going to be about. And sometimes it's even learning how to advocate for others as well. What happens if my student violates the alcohol and drug policy? I know that won't be any of your students, but if that's something that is an issue, they would be connected with the Community Standards and Conflict Resolution Office, and then they would get referred to Student Wellness and Health Promotion for an educational intervention where your student would get to discuss their choices around drugs and alcohol. What resources are available for survivors of sexual misconduct? Again, there's the UD helpline, but there are also professional advocates who can support students, can help them with academic accommodations, can help them if they need accommodations, different housing, can support students in helping them understand what their options are when it comes to reporting. They always have the option to report to the police, but they don't have to report to the police. That is their choice. How can I, as a loved one or a parent, talk to my student about alcohol and sex? I call this the $50 million question, right? So for many of you, like, I think about popular culture. Like, how do we start these conversations with our students? And ideally, this has been happening ongoing, age appropriately, over time. And ideally will continue when students come home or when they call you, that you are continuing to check in with them. But I think about some of the horrendous college movies, you know, think about all the popular culture movies that are about college life that are that stereotype these very negative behaviors. But there's an opportunity, maybe the family watches one of those films and up come the topics around, you know, have a conversation around what are your values and your students' values when it comes to alcohol or sex. And hopefully there'll be, stay tuned, we'll have more information coming through the Parents and Families newsletter. And what does student-centered care mean? It really is kind of self-explanatory. It means that there is no one size fits all, and that we're really trying to tailor the support for students, for each individual student, based on their needs. We work with students very much. Part of what we also are always trying to think about is what are the trends on campus. So if you've heard of Borgs, I'm not talking the Star Trek Borg variety here. It's BORGS. That is a trend that we've seen across campuses across the nation, and our students, you know, we are informed very much by our students. Next slide, please. Which brings me to our peer education programs. We have a very robust group of peer educators who are doing a lot of different education around bystander intervention, as well as nutrition and stress and mental health, and as well as our advocates for sexual offense support, as well as internships. So you can check out our website, which we'll have on a slide towards the end of the this session. Next slide, please. So at this time, I would really like to say a big thank you to Michelle and Sherry. And Sherry, I'm so sorry that the connection was not great for you, but I appreciate you hanging in there. Thanks so much for sharing important information. And I just want to bring us back to, you know, a reminder that many of the student wellbeing services we've just talked about are covered by the wellbeing fee that's automatically applied for all full-time students. And so we're going to dig a little deeper into that as well. So next slide, please. This is kind of a visual summary of what the UD wellbeing fee, the health insurance, and the prescription coverage look like, and that students have a very comprehensive coverage through all these different pieces. Again, under the wellbeing fee, the Counseling Center for Student Development Services are all covered, and student wellness and health promotion services are covered. Most of student health services are covered, and timely care, and we've already mentioned that. And next slide, please. We're going to dig into, Sherry, I'm just going to take this one, into what isn't covered, essentially. So we've talked a lot about what is covered under the wellbeing fee, but essentially there are 4 general areas that are not covered under the wellbeing fee. So that includes over-the-counter medications. So that would be likely billed to insurance. or it includes, so things like labs can be done at the student health services, as can x-rays, and that piece is covered under the wellbeing fee, but those labs and those x-rays would be sent off campus to be analyzed or have a radiologist read it. So that part would be applied to a your health insurance, billed to insurance, as are immunizations and allergy injections and TB testing. I hope that made sense. Next slide, please. Okay. Bear with me, this is a new slide for me. So, excuse me, health insurance, all UD students are required to have health insurance, right? And to upload their health insurance card and prescription insurance card to the UD Health portal. UD offers a health insurance plan for students through Highmark. You can opt to keep your current insurance, but you will need to submit a waiver. And then students will receive this information via email in July. So keep your eyes peeled, and we'll have your students keep their eyes peeled for an email in July where they can look at their insurance. And there is the website there that you can also link to. And I'm hoping I've covered everything on this slide. I think I have. Next slide, please. So important to know that in the event of an emergency or an accident, or if your student needs specialized care, that you really will need to be coordinating with your insurance plan. You want to make sure that you have some in-network options in the state of Delaware. So connect with your insurance plan, find out exactly what is and isn't covered, because that will be an important piece. Again, most, things happening off campus are not going to be covered by the wellbeing fee. So that's an important piece you need to make sure you're thinking about. Next slide, please. How are we doing on time, Kelly? We're probably over time. Are we over our time? So I don't know if there were any Q&A in the Q&A, but next slide, please. I'm going to encourage you to screenshot this slide, which has a lot of contact information. So student health services, you can contact through the phone number or go to their website. Same with this counseling center and student wellness. There's some other information on here. And again, thank you so much for joining us for this session. I think we're out of time for questions. And I want to encourage you again to please scan the QR code and give us feedback. It's a short survey with 5 questions. Kelly, I think our time is up. So thanks for having us. And I hope that was helpful.
Yes, thank you. And we are going to transition into our campus safety presentation. Oh, and Aretha was going to do it for me. But we are going to welcome on major hires and Kim Zitzner from Community Standards and Conflict Resolution and UDPD for our next session.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you're having a good evening. My name is Kim Zitzner. I work with Community Standards and Conflict Resolution, and I'm one of the presenters here with my wonderful colleague who's also up on the screen right now from UDPD. I have the pleasure to get to speak first, but would you like to introduce yourself as we're both up on the screen?
Sure. My name is Jason Pyers. I'm the Deputy Chief of Police at the University of Delaware. I've been here 8 years now. Prior to that, I was in Dover Police for 20 years. Prior to that, I was in the Department of Corrections for 3 years. And prior to that, I was in the military. So I've been doing law enforcement policing for about 32 years now.
That's quite a long time. I can't compete with that, although I have been at University of Delaware for just that long. So I am a UD grad and I'm still here. So it says something about the institution. So great to have you all with us this evening. If I could ask our slide person to move to the next slide, that would be awesome. This evening, we are going to go through, as it was stated, our campus and student safety discussion. We're going to go through, really give you an overview of 3 different offices that are involved in campus and student safety: University of Delaware Police Department, Community Standards and Conflict Resolution, and our Case Management and Student Advocacy Office. So I'm going to start it off and ask that you move to the next slide. And I'll kind of go from there. So Community Standards and Conflict Resolution, affectionately known as CSCR. A lot of our university uses lots of different acronyms for everything. So CSCR is the office that I represent. And again, our colleagues from Case Management and Student Advocacy, I will discuss next. Both of our offices work together, and we report to the Dean of Students Office, and we are within the Division of Student Life. You can see up at the top of the screen here that that paragraph. I will not read it to you because I know you can read it yourselves. That's our full mission statement. But in short, our office exists to ensure that all members of the university feel safe, follow behavioral expectations, and are successful, especially for our students while they're here at the university. When conflict does arise, we help resolve those issues using a spectrum of resolution options, along with always providing campus resources and reminders about expectations to ensure that disruptions do not occur. You'll notice that there are 4 bullets on the screen, and I'm going to review the services that our office does provide. It's important that students and families are familiar with these services and the programs that are offered out of our office. When we receive a report about an alleged policy violation, we review that information against the Code of Conduct. All of our students are aware of the Code of Conduct. It's on the website. They will hear more about it when they arrive on campus. Our RAs discuss it when the students move in. We look at the Code of Conduct and compare the report to the Code of Conduct to see if there's a violation, and then determine appropriate sanctions for addressing the matter after we've received it. Depending on the nature of the incident, including the severity of the situation itself, the harm that occurred, and the impact that it might have had on the community, we can then decide whether we will bring the incident through a case resolution process or whether we will utilize an alternative conflict resolution process, different options in that case. If it is a case resolution process, our students are always afforded their due process rights. They meet with a staff member from our office, they review the charges, and we work through that case in a formal or informal adjudication process. We can also, as I mentioned, utilize an alternative conflict resolution option, such as restorative practices, facilitated dialogue, conflict coaching, to assist students as they work through conflict, helping them to understand how they have impacted themselves and others, and also working to restore harm, not only to themselves and individuals impacted, but to the community at large. We work with the students to give them tools to resolve their conflict on their own, with, of course, the intention that it's helpful to them in the moment, but also stops things from moving to the higher level, so it doesn't rise to a higher conduct case. Always, student health and safety are a primary concern, as you certainly heard in our last presentation, but they are a concern at the University of Delaware, and it's in that vein that we prioritize student safety, which goes along with taking care of each other. One of the ways we do that on this campus is through what we call an amnesty program. I'm sure many of you are aware of amnesty, and you have that in effect in the communities you live in. If a student or Good Samaritan seeks help, either by calling 911 or getting assistance from a university employee, that student will not face any code of conduct charges. They will, however, receive notification from our office to meet with a staff member. We'll review the incident itself, talk to them about the incident, make sure they receive appropriate support and education. This was referred to in the last presentation, where we would make sure the students have the outreach that they need. Amnesty on this campus applies to instances of alcohol and drug amnesty, hazing amnesty, and in instances when a person is victimized, instances of sexual misconduct. To clarify, what that means is sometimes our students, if they have been victimized and they are under the influence, they're very concerned about reaching out. And we want them to know that amnesty applies for that situation, and we want them to reach out. In all instances, we really want students to seek help. But the last thing we want them to do is worry about getting in trouble and not making that phone call, whether it's for themselves, like if your student is in a situation where they've had too much to drink or they've taken a substance that's affecting them, we want them to just call and we will get them the help they need, whether it's for them or for a friend. Lastly, you'll notice the last bullet on there is something called the Good Neighbor Program. Our students are a really integral part of our Newark community, and we want those students to be good citizens and neighbors. Several times a year, we actually walk around campus, outside of the outskirts of campus, to all of our residential and renting locations. We coordinate with UDPD, with student well-being, Newark Police, Newark Code Enforcement, and we literally go door to door, talking to them, talking to the neighbors about being good neighbors, making sure we're sharing safety information, providing resources, and of course, a bag of free popcorn doesn't hurt. Next slide, please. Our contact information, if you choose and wish to contact our office, whether it's to ask more about what we do in the office, or if you're reaching out, wondering what might be happening with one of your students while they're here, this is the way to reach us. Now I will move on to our partner office. If you could move to the next slide for me, that would be great. So case management and student advocacy. You can also see the mission statement listed here. This office, as I mentioned before, both of our offices report to the Dean of Students and work within the Division of Student Life. In the Case Management and Student Advocacy Office, we understand that navigating the complexities of university life can be very challenging. The team's approach is very much student-driven, student-centered. They are here to assist students and help them develop a plan to address their concerns. Really, the goal in the office is to empower our students to take ownership of their education and make informed decisions. We want them to reach out when they need to reach out and give them the tools they need to be successful. We do understand that as a family member or support person, you may sometimes have concerns about how your student is doing, whether it's their well-being or their safety while they're studying. And we do certainly want to assure you that there are many support services available here at the university. The office is more than happy to consult with you and provide information about these resources and options. The office might be limited about the details that can be shared about your students' records, even if you're financially responsible. Due to FERPA, there are some things that we cannot disclose unless the student has released that information to be shared. Regardless, we will make sure that the resources are shared and discuss what the potential processes might happen going forward for the students. And certainly, if you have concerns after the initial conversation, to reach out and continue to be in contact with the office. Case management and student advocacy provides a number of services to assist in student safety and well-being. Some of our students might, and you notice this is really in our second bullet here, might need to take a military leave of absence. They might have an active duty requirements that mean that they need to leave, or perhaps there may be a medical need to not be here on campus. They might need to take a break from their studies, whether it's for physical or mental health reasons. For instance, not to be planned, but your student might have a surgery and might need to be out longer, or have a medical need that lasts longer than 3 weeks. These would be instances of absences that would be coordinated through the Case Management and Student Advocacy Office. And this would be something that would continue to be coordinated. When the students return, they would meet again with someone from the office to allow them to get the support they need and make sure they are able to reintegrate back into university life when they return. In addition, this is the third bullet listed, the office provides support to student veterans and our military affiliated support needs. That's very unique to what students might need to do while they're here, different processes that need to be filled out, and there are designated members in our office that take care of that. And lastly, that bullet there, it talks about Blue Hen essentials. There are students who face really complex challenges while they're here at the university, and they are assisted through the Blue Hen Essentials. Examples of what that means: Blue Hen Essentials offer students assistance, whether it has to do with food insecurity, housing insecurity, they might need to be in need of clothing, or maybe even a laptop loaner. And those are the things that we assist, or the office assists through Blue Hen Essentials. Next slide, please. This is the contact information for case management and student advocacy. If you are concerned for your student while they're here at the University of Delaware, a couple suggestions. First, you can always contact University Police. You can, of course, always contact our office. An important note that only the police can perform a wellness check for a student when there's imminent concern for the student's safety. Other staff, like the RAs, they can't perform wellness checks. So what we suggest is, and encourage you, is to have conversations with your students before they come here about your expectations about check-in. If you've been texting them all day long and they have not gotten hold of you, have a process before that takes place so that you are all comfortable if you haven't heard from them. But seriously, if there's ever a concern, you can reach out to both offices and we will certainly check in on your student. But it's important to have clear expectations for you and your student about what that communication is before they arrive. In addition, when it comes to supporting all of our students on campus, we have what's called a student behavioral consultation team. The three offices that you see represented here this evening work together on that team and really meet to make sure interventions are set in place if a student is expressing or exhibiting behaviors that are concerning, that might be potentially detrimental to themselves or to others. There's a team that's set up to really monitor that. We truly believe in a holistic approach and want to make sure we reach out for the safety of the students that are themselves and for the community at large. And I think that's a lot of talking. So I've done enough for both offices. I thank you for your listening, and we will have questions at the end after UDPD has made what is always a more exciting presentation. So on to UDPD.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Kim. First of all, I just want to be completely transparent with everybody out there. I'm a terrible Zoomer, so I'm gonna try my best to being as engaging as possible with you as I go through this presentation. So first of all, next slide, please. We've already done our introduction, so I'll talk to you a little bit about our police department. So the University of Delaware, as you can see, is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365-day a year police department. We have full arrest powers in the state of Delaware, so we're true full-fledged crime fighters. We also have a full 911 center. There's 12 in the state. We're the only one that's nationally accredited, and we are one of 4 universities across the nation that have a nationally accredited 911 center. And why that is important is because when anybody calls, that's the first point of contact. So we try to make sure that we provide safe services and as good as possible. So we have 54 sworn police officers. We have a variety of different units. We have detectives, we have canines, we have motorcycles. We have everything that every other police department does with the exception of a helicopter. But as I said many times before, if you want to talk to the president about that, we're game. We have 14 dispatchers, as I said before. We talked about our 911 center. We have 24 uniformed security officers. They perform as an auxiliary to the police department. So they tend to have fixed posts or go around to lock buildings for us. Or you'll see them at some of our events too. We have a really robust student cadet program. We have 50 students roughly in the program right now. They're paid. So if you have anybody that's interested in a career in law enforcement, they also work kind of in that quasi-security mode with a little less responsibility, but they do lock buildings and they do some of our safety escorts for us. We also have, and if your student is interested, you can go right to our website and apply for the position. We do work around their school schedules as well with the hours. We have another great outstanding program. We have what we refer to as Kim was talking about, acronyms, which we have tons of, but essentially we have a student EMT program that we refer to as UDQ, but it's a student run ambulance service, and they are also nationally accredited EMTs, all of them that are on there. And the real cool thing is they were the 2022 EMS Collegiate Organization of the Year. So they're an outstanding program. So if you look to the right, some of the pictures you can see, if you look at that vehicle that's there, and I'll talk about that in the next slide a little bit more, some of our safety escorts, but take a look at that and let's go to the next slide. All right, so now I'm gonna get into some of the meat and potatoes, everything of all the safety stuff. So I want everyone to know that we have approximately a little over 1,000 cameras strategically placed on campus. The other thing we have are blue light phones. which are exactly what they sound like. There's a blue light, and at the bottom of it, there's an emergency call box. Press the button and it goes right to our 911 center. We have about 650 of those strategically placed around campus, so you can actually traverse from one end of campus to the other and actually go from phone to phone. So that way, if an emergency does present itself, you can't get to your cell phone, we're right there just with the push of a button. The other thing I'll talk about, and we'll work from the top to the bottom, is UD Alerts. This is one that causes a lot of confusion. So all of your students are enrolled in UD Alerts right now, and it's a way that we use to communicate in emergency situations. And it can go out text, email, phone calls. So the alerts are going to be sent when there's an ongoing, immediate, serious threat to the safety of campus. So it's not a press release tool. It's not a news release mechanism. It's actually what it says. It's for alerts. So this would include tornadoes. Unfortunately, today's society, we have to talk about active shooters. I joke around all the time, but we really did have a bear on campus, a real live bear. I know PA in New York, you guys like, that's not a big deal, but to Delaware, that's especially because I'm a downstate Delaware kid, that's a big deal. So anyway, those are things that we'll send the alert out for. And if you're wondering why the bear was there, it's because the students are throwing away all their food in the dumpster, and we live right, they live right near a state park. So I have a funny feeling that the bear actually came from Pennsylvania, but I'm not going to point fingers without a great investigation. So anyway, enough about the bear. So that's how UD Alert works. So your students are signed up already through the registrar's office. Make sure that they have a good phone number in there. That way they'll get the text alerts as well. And you as a parent, you can also have your student add your number in there as well, so you can receive these alerts. So that's one of the tools we use to communicate. However, if you want to just see what's going on day to day, or if you don't want to sign up for the alerts, we echo all of those on our social media, as well as provide other safety tips. So that will be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're on all of those. So the Live Safe app is a really cool app. And this is one that we find is, once the students know about it and actually download it, it's a great tool that they utilize quite often. So the cool thing about the Live Safe app is we know that our students are a social media dependent population, and they prefer to communicate via text more than actual phone calls or face-to-face. So this app is a free app that they can download, where they can text us any emergency or any question or any situation that they have that they feel is unsafe. They can actually text us. It's answered in real time. It doesn't sit in a queue with a dispatcher, just like a phone call would be. And they can also send pictures and videos of whatever it is that they want to share with us if they see something unsafe. The other cool thing about the app is they can actually do peer-to-peer stuff, where they can track each other from spot to spot if they're walking across campus. They can share that with you as well. It also has an emergency call button on there, which is real cool. We just hit that and it rings right to our 911 center. As I said, with 911, if they call from our cell phones, we have a great partnership with Newark Police Department. The city and the university have a great relationship when it comes to policing, a lot of overlap there. Just as an FYI, the university owns about 40% of the city of Newark. So we have jurisdiction over anything that's under the supervision, regulation, or control of the police of the university. The other 60% belongs to Newark, but if a 911 call does bounce over to them, if it is an actual emergency, they're going to be sending resources and also send the call to us. We'll send resources simultaneously, and then we work everything out there at the end. So as we're talking about the Live Safe app, the other cool thing that students could do is they can ask for a safety escort. That's something that we offer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's free. At night, we actually have a gator that you can see in this picture right here where it says beware of your rideshare, and you look down there. We have actually 4 of those. 2 of those are used at night to actually do safety escorts. So if your student calls us, they're on campus, they feel unsafe walking, let's say from the library back to their dorm, we'll actually come and pick them up and give them a ride back to the dorm. But this is only for on campus. It initiates on campus. Off campus, we really don't offer that because we're not an Uber, and we're not going to take your student from party to party. So the other thing we offer is rideshare safety tips that you can see there. We do not sponsor or co-partner with any rideshare company in particular, but we always try to make everybody aware of some safety tips when it comes to rideshares. Now, unfortunately, as I said before, with the alerts, active shooters is something that we're a realistic thing that we have to deal with in our country. So I encourage you and your students to watch a video that we produced. The Run, Hide, Fight is what we prescribe to. We have one specific to the University of Delaware that goes over all the steps they should take if such a thing happens. Now, I want to assure everybody that as a university police department, we are prepared to deal with this. We have our own SWAT team. All of our officers go to extensive training when it comes to active shooters, and I'm very confident we'll be able to neutralize anything really quick. So let's talk about the last thing on this slide that we'll discuss is we also offer a women's self-defense course, which is free. You can go online on our website, sign up. It's offered at least 2 times a semester, sometimes more depending on how much interest we garner. So I breezed through a lot of things really fast. And I did that intentionally because I want to leave time for questions and answers. So I want to assure everybody that we embrace the fact that we're part of this educational process, just like everybody else is. Kim touched on amnesty, which I'll talk about real quick. Amnesty applies through the police as well. And if your student is in a situation where either they have drank too much or consumed too much alcohol or drugs, or their friend has, and they see that there is an emergency situation there where there's a crisis presenting itself, amnesty will apply if they call us for help. They won't get in trouble, and the person they're calling for won't get in trouble. So please stress to them, the safety is the most important thing that we care about, and that's where we're going to err on the side of that every time. So now, with that being said, we'll open it up to question and answers if anybody has any. Just jump right in the chat. There's our contact information for the police department. We try to make it real easy. Everything here for the prefix in Delaware, everything is 302-831-UDPD to get a hold of us. That's our non-emergency number, and then call 911. And there's all of our contact information there. Oh, real quick, one other unique thing is we are located right smack in the middle of all the freshman dorms too, if that makes you feel a little bit better.
I see a question up there that says, is there a male self-defense course?
Actually, no, we do not offer that right now, but I'm sure we could get something integrated in there.
We must have done a stellar job again. No questions.
Knocked it out the park.
Nothing happening out there.
Great job. Great job. So once again, thank you to our 2 presenters. If there are any questions, we'll be sure to get them taken care of, or direct them to you in your office, and you're using your contact information or whatnot. But with that, we'll go ahead and move on, just keeping an eye on time, moving on to the student panel.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you once again. All right, so with the student panel, I would like to call up our orientation leaders to introduce themselves, and then we'll go ahead and jump in. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and our wonderful student orientation leaders will answer them.
Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal Solomon. I use she, her pronouns. I am from Brooklyn, New York. I recently graduated with my bachelor's in music education. I'm currently undergoing my master's in special education.
Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a great day so far. My name is John Moore. I'm a sophomore majoring in biology. I'm originally from Egypt, but now I'm a commuter student from Middletown, Delaware, and my pronouns are he and his. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. And you all know our wonderful Aretha. She has been with you all day. So well, actually everyone has. All right. So I do want to open up the panel with a quick question. What was your favorite thing that you've done your first year here at UD? So I know some of you might have to think back. Others might be a little bit more recent.
So my first year here at UD, I started an RSO, our Registered Student Organization. It's called the Egyptian Cultural Club, and it was just a place for me and my Egyptian friends to feel like we belong on campus. So I feel like, and it's also like a welcoming space for any other Egyptian students here.
My favorite thing, my very first year, thanks Trevor for dating me. My first thing was actually going ice skating during my welcome days. That's something I remember the most because me and one of my suite mates at the time walked from North Campus to the opposite end of South Campus to the stadium. And it was a great bonding time for us, but also just like the ice skating. My very first time ice skating, I fell a whole bunch of times, but it was so much fun. I think for me, my experience is a little bit different because when I joined college, COVID just happened. But I do remember that the few times we were allowed to have things, there was a Perkins Live where a comedian came on campus, which was fun because I think a lot of people hadn't been out of their rooms. So it was a really good bonding moment for all of us to kind of like get to laugh through like really tough times.
Awesome, thank you. And just to let people know, when you put a question in the Q&A chat, sometimes we'll go ahead and type out a response to you. So be sure you're checking that as well. While some of them we will answer live. So feel free to keep putting them in chat, but be sure to also check there for your answers. Okay. Another question I want to ask is, and we actually had this earlier today, and I thought it was a fantastic question. What items did you bring with you that you didn't actually need for living on campus?
I realized that I didn't need a shoe organizer to go over my door because I realized I needed more. I have so many pairs of shoes, so the shoe organizer was just not going to work to go over my door. And things that are going over your door, they take up a lot of space. So being able to just have a mirror there and that be the only thing makes it worth it.
Great, thank you. All right, so we do have a question in the chat that we would like to answer live. If students are sick, is there an opportunity for them to join virtually on Zoom, or how does that work?
So I think it depends on each professor. So some professors give you excused absences. Some professors give like only a certain amount of excused absences. So I remember I took my English class last semester, and my professor only allowed like 4 absences, and then after that I would get penalized. Like I would get penalized for that. So I think it just depends on each professor. My advice would be to look out for like attendance policies on the syllabus that the professor can send out on the first day or the first week of classes. And if that stuff wasn't clarified, I'd suggest like emailing the professor themselves, and hopefully they will let you know.
Awesome, thank you. Cool. So the other question we have are just maybe talk a little bit about the meal plans and what worked for you individually, and just a little bit about what you like.
So with our meal plans, we have different meal plans that suit everyone's different needs. Everyone starts with the default meal plan of 14 meals weekly, and that comes with 175 points. And points relate to $1 equals 1 point, and that relates to using it at our marketplaces and our food courts that we have here on campus. So a big one is like Chick-fil-A or Denny's, and so a lot of people tend to go use their points there. But in terms of our meal plans, like I said, you start with the 14 meals weekly, which adds about 2 meals a day. But then we do have other meal plans for other people. So for me, I was a person that I didn't go to the dining hall as much. So 14 meals weekly just was not suitable for me. So then I switched mine to a bulk of 175 meals, which gave me 500 points. So that gave me more points to use. I definitely was more of a Chick-fil-A user, Chick-fil-A person. So I went to Chick-fil-A very often, and that's where having more points worked out the best. You can refer to our dining website, and they'll be able, if you look up UDEL Dining, they'll be able to give you more of a breakdown onto points, our meal plans, and such.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. So again, if you still have some questions, please put it in chat. We'll also get them answered via typing. In the meantime, the other question I would like to ask you all is, what kind of events are you looking forward to each year? What's your favorite event you've attended? And I know, Priscilla, you mentioned ice skating. So if you want to think about a different one, that would be great too.
It's a highlight of like between me and my friend group. Silent disco. Every year I get prepped for it. I have my sneakers on, I'm ready to dance. And so how that works basically is that everyone gets headphones, and there are two different channels you can listen to. So you could be dancing to one song and the person next to you dancing to an absolutely different song, and you'll be dancing together, but like different beats, different rhythms, because we're just not listening to the same channel. And it's so much fun. It's outside, it's usually at night. And so I'm so excited for that because that is my event of the year. Like, I'm starting my semester on a good note if I go to the silent disco.
Anyone else want to answer the question?
I'm looking forward to the welcome days at the beginning of this year. I know it's mostly for first year students, but I really enjoyed my welcome days, especially the twilight induction ceremony. I thought that was really fun. It's like basically like all the class, like the whole class, like we all meet up in the green on the green, and then the president gives a speech, and then we all like light candles and we all pass it around to each other. And then like hopefully at the end everyone has like a lit candle. I don't know. I just think it's like a really wholesome moment. And although I'm gonna be a sophomore next year, I'm gonna try to do it again. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we do have another question in chat. What is the best item or most essential item to bring to your res hall aside from the basics? So maybe like, what is your most unique item that you always are reaching for that you might not have thought of?
I'm always reaching for my Brita. I brought a Brita with me because most of the residence halls don't have like an automatic water refill station. So having that Brita and having that Brita pitcher was great to have with me, because then I didn't have to go buy cases of water. So it also helped with like my ideals of like sustainability. So I think that, and I also always was reaching for my TV remote because being able to have my TV with me or have a TV was such a great privilege for me to know that I can just, instead of watching it on my laptop, which my laptop would usually be dead by the end of the day, having like Netflix or Hulu on my TV just to have that relaxation period. I know for me, I know for me, this might seem like a basic to most people, but people don't think about it. But having a carpet in your room, so when you get down, your feet are not freezing in the morning, having bathroom slippers, just a lot of tiny things that are like, here's the basics, but you don't really think about until like you're there. But more importantly for me, I live in an AC building, but I still have a little fan that I keep with me that's just like directly close to me. So if my room gets too cold or too hot, I can just like turn that off and then just put on my little fan depending on what the temperature is like outside.
Excellent. Thank you. So we have another question. How accessible campus-wide, and also including in the residence halls, maybe a dining hall, is Wi-Fi? So how does Wi-Fi work? How do you feel your connections are?
All right. So the Wi-Fi here at UD, so you just need to like log in using your UD credentials. It's a little bit of a process, but it's a little bit like it's easy to do it on laptop. You can always like look up how to do it on Google. But to answer your question, Wi-Fi is actually very accessible. It's everywhere. In every building, I have access to Wi-Fi, whether it's like lecture halls or residence halls or even dining halls. I will have to say it's not always accessible like outside, depending on like how like on the green. I think I get like Wi-Fi connection sometimes, but like not on the road, if that makes sense. Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, John. Okay, so it looks like we have time for a couple more questions. So if you want to put them in chat, feel free. In the meantime, my next question is going to be, what piece of advice would you give first year students that are coming in? Or what piece of advice would you have liked to have received as a first year student?
My biggest advice would be that I know college is going to be a little bit stressful, but like the difficulty of the classes solely depend on your professor. So you could take a really like hard class, but if it's a good professor, the class could be a piece of cake too. Compared like if you're taking an introductory class, and the professor is can be a difficult grader, you might struggle a little bit with your classes. So I think it's just like important to look out, and there's a bunch of resources out there to like see which professors are better. Like that's what like if you just go with the right ones or with the like easier ones, I would say, you're probably gonna have like your classes are gonna be easier, if that makes sense.
I would tell myself to just go explore, go out and see what's available, and just be able to try new things. College is, first of all, a whole new experience. It's a whole new try in the first place, but being able to go out to different RSOs, different clubs, different events, and making sure that you're able to balance doing all those things, but also your classes. So time management is one of the biggest things that I always suggest to first year students. I would say don't be afraid to drop classes, because I think at the beginning I had this idea of like dropping like class would mean like a certain thing. I would mean like I failed at something, but at the end of the day, it is your experience. And some professors are just made more for you than others. And so there are usually multiple professors that teach a certain class. And so if one professor isn't working out for you, as long as you talk to your advisor and be like, I just feel like me and this professor, like I don't understand their teaching style. They help you through that. And then you can switch to the same class, but a different professor. So at the end of the day, just doing what is more convenient and enjoyable for you in terms of classes.
Awesome. Thank you, three. Great advice. Another question we have in chat. So it's a little bit about friendship making. They're specifically asking about, is it harder to make friends if you live on North Campus versus being farther away from Central Campus? And then in that same vein, I know Crystal mentioned our registered student organization. So if you want to talk about some of those opportunities and other opportunities to make friends, I think that'd be great.
So it's not hard to make friends. North Campus, I lived on North Campus all 4 years, and it's not as far as people think. On maps and driving, it looks very far. But when you're walking, it's not very far. It's about like 10 minutes from main campus. And so you are able to make friends pretty easily. I say that you make friends in your classes also. I have made plenty of my friends in my classes, in my department. I've made plenty of friends in my residence hall also. It's just really how friendly you want to be with people in your residence halls. For me, I also, like Trevor was saying, RSOs are a big thing. So we do have something called the involvement fair that happens within our welcome days. And we have over 400 different RSOs, and RSOs are just referring to clubs. And so that's a time where students can go visit any of the RSOs. They can go sign up for things, do email lists, and the RSOs the commitment level depends on the RSO. So some of them you can just sign up and never go to the meeting and there's nothing happening. Some of them you do actually have to go to the meetings to continue to be a member. For me, I signed up for Future Educators of America and I haven't gone to one singular meeting, but I still get the emails and I still get to know the events and such.
Awesome. So looking at time, I think we have time for one more question, and I'm going to steal this from our director, and I thought it was fantastic. What is your favorite U-Dairy ice cream flavor?
I would say me and Aretha have the same one, I think. Yeah. So there's a flavor called Nom Nom Nom, which is, it's like cookie dough and cookies and cream, and it's blue. It's like, it reminds you of like a Cookie Monster. And it's so good. Me and Aretha get it all the time from U Dairy on South Campus. And we have our guilty pleasures of like the waffle cones or the waffle bowls to eat them out of, and it just adds like a perfect amount of sweetness to it.
I think my favorite one is I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's something with coffee. I'm a very coffee person, and the coffee flavored ice cream. Damn it, don't remember what it's called, but it's so good. Especially, I think it's called the All Nighter, something like that. So if you like coffee, if you're a coffee person, I would totally suggest getting that.
Yes, no is my favorite, but I do have to give like a special shout out because this is something my dad absolutely loves. Like he'll call me and he'll be like, I really wish I had some Grauman's Golden Coconuts, and it's coconut like flavored ice cream, and it's so good according to him. So I'm gonna trust his judgment and say that is also a pretty good choice. But you can never go wrong with 1923, which is like vanilla with chocolate chunks. That's an absolute classic.
All right, well, that takes us to the end of our session. So thank you all so much. The last question we did have is, yes, this Zoom is being recorded. So if you want to watch this again, if you missed any information or want to play back the presentations, you certainly can do so. I believe we'll be uploading it to the Blue Hen Family Hub and sending it out as well via email. That's not true. We will make sure you get the recording. So again, thank you all so much. Make sure you continue to do all the orientation checklist for your students, so they can check that online. And if you have any other questions or anything else, feel free to email us and we can point you in the right direction. All right. Thank you all again, and you've been wonderful.